Welcome back to episode 90 of the Grouch and the Brainstorm. And today, Matt, Jill, and Lacy sit down with Ben, and he does a little catch-up story to let us know how his life has been this past year, maybe a little bit more than a year in sobriety. So I'm going to let these guys take it away. Go ahead, Matt, Jill, take it away.
This is Matt, and I'm here with Jill.
Hey, guys.
Lacy.
Hello.
And Ben.
What's up?
Hey, been jamming.
Hadn't been in here in a while. We wanted to do a little bonus episode, and we're all over Thanksgiving kind of holiday, and we're recording this right around that time, and hadn't have been in here in a while. I don't remember the episode you were on last. I'm going to look it up, but it's been a while. We've had a lot of updates lately on folks coming in, and we just wanted to kind of update sobriety-wise, like how things are going. And also, we've had Thanksgiving. Everybody, I guess, has survived. This is
Happy post-Thanksgiving. How's everybody feeling?
No one.
I mean, I made it back.
Yeah.
You made it back?
Yeah.
Yeah, my pants are a little tight.
Yeah, it. You know,
sorry about that.
The family implications with all that stuff. It seems like can be awkward with some folks. Some folks don't, it's not, but we can talk about that too. I mean, it was, I think we had a pretty good Thanksgiving. We've, other than Lacy's health, the neck issues and stuff bothering her, but she's kind of trudged on through all that stuff. So, doing the best she can with it. We've had a good one. We've just had a lot of people and a lot of food, and Mama made a huge pot of gumbo today, and we had another little Thanksgiving get together today. So, but yeah, and it once you throw in people from all over the place into one area, it can get kind of creepy sometimes.
Chaotic.
All
of the above.
Word, but we did have the grandbaby today, and my daughter Erin and Caden was there today, and we all got to play with him, and he dug all the dirt up in our yard, or he tried to, and he had a good time, and he was wore out. We just left him, and he was already asleep in the car. So.
Oh, good times.
Yes. So he had a good time, but yeah, if Ben, if you want to start, kind of tell us, refresh us on. So you and I met too, and we met at a job we both worked at, and so that's where you and I met and kind of became friends. And so just however you want to do it.
I don't know where we left off last time. I
believe what you
had about a year of sobriety.
Had about a year of sobriety.
Yeah, it was right around 1 year. Well, good news is I'm a little over 2.5 years now.
Okay.
Yes.
I got a birthday coming up next year. Me and Matt worked together for about a year prior, so it's 3 years now since I know Matt. And
he worked, I loafed.
Yeah,
that was how
I saved his life, and then when my life went to shit, he helped me get out of hot water. So
he saved your life. Full circle.
I wouldn't say he saved my life.
I would never say that myself, but God.
But he
God
threw me a
sometimes.
rope.
Yeah, yeah.
And gave me let me make a few choices that I needed to make. And after that, I mean, we wound up working at a loan company that was a temporary idea just from the start off. Yeah. After I got that, helped me. It put me in the right place to want to get sober and everything. 6 months later, after working there, I had enough and decided I wanted to move on to different things. And I finally took up one of my friend's offers, and now I'm working at a big company, making good money. I got benefits. I can go get my teeth fixed if I wanted to.
Come on.
That's awesome.
And I probably will next year. I might take some days off for that. But speaking of taking days off, I was just able to afford to take a vacation down to Tampa, Florida, and go see some of my familia. And that was amazing. I don't know. It's just, I didn't feel like before. I kind of felt awkward around family because I was kind of they all knew I was into some dumb shit back then. And now I'm semi not. I mean, I still got some stank on me, but
yeah.
But
don't we all?
But I mean, I could dress nice today, and I feel good about myself. So it was a good feeling being down there and not having to worry about, oh, well, do they know about the dumbest thing I've done lately? And,
and what's I think really cool is that you could afford to go on a trip. I mean, that's like everything that you're saying is the promises coming true in your life.
And I think, I think
just
people
thinking
they think it's, I don't know what I had the image of, but it's just like Ben's talking about, and we see it all the time with folks. It's little things moving forward in your life, and you look up and go, "Oh, that got a little better." It's always something, You're always with this life, man. This people, but you go, well, I just jumped on a plane and went to Tampa for a week, and didn't cost me anything. I didn't get kicked out of my house. All these things, and
I'm able to appreciate those little things, but I don't blow them out of proportion like I might have would in the past, because I felt like this kind of sort of the last couple of years is like, man, stuff is going way too good for me right now. So the other shoe's about to drop. Like haven't been anxiously waiting, but it's like in the back of my mind, what's going to be the next thing? And I've had some couple things come up. Like earlier this year, my grandpa passed away, and that was a rough thing. You get your peaks and your valleys. My grandpa passed away, but thankfully he was thinking about his grandkids, and he's got us set up with a little bit of something, which was awesome. Wasn't expecting it. So, and that's just going to help put me in a even better position. I'm still getting used to this, talking about how good my life is going, because, and I don't want to gloat about it. That's the big thing. I don't want to gloat about it, but I want to let people know that if you just submit to God's will and just quit complicating things, quit fighting everything, shit just works out, man.
It all falls into place. It's quite wild.
Mm-hmm. And you and I, it's been funny too, because you were talking about saving each other and all that. Neither one of us did anything. God went, here's these two morons. I'm gonna keep them wiping each other's butt as this thing goes along. And he just used us to kind of be in the right place at the right time, And it's funny how that flips back and forth too. And then in this lifestyle in recovery, you may be thinking and I'm using air quotes, helping somebody one day, and then the next day they're helping you, the next month or the next year. It's never, I don't think it's ever the individual doing anything, but I think when we try to do God the best we can with it and what we feel like he's telling us to do.
What else I think is really awesome is that, your grandfather, passed, and I hate that. But you know what? You stayed super through it. Mm-hmm. And so what did you do? Sobriety wise.
Do you want a laid out list of how I woke up every day and whatever?
No, a lot of people, grieve, and a lot of people do not stay sober through it. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is, that's part of life, and we're all going to lose people. And how do you stay sober through that? How did you stay sober through that?
Well, one thing that helped was I was able to have more of a relationship with my family, being able to actually go and visit with them and feel comfortable around them. And even though I'm a big, strong man, that's how I want everybody to see me, is I'm just a huge, strong man. I cried a lot. You got to cry. Yeah. But I did a lot of crying.
I'm glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. Well, we all know you're a big, strong man, Ben. Yes. But there's just this social stigma against men crying, and that has to be changed. I think it takes more of a man to cry than not. Mm-hmm. And I think it's it's definitely healthy, but it's getting away from that old, I'm tough and men don't cry kind of shit that leaves anybody, men and women, emotionally detached or screwed up because they've been suppressing emotions for decades. Mm-hmm. I just wanted you to share that because, unfortunately, loss is really hard, and we've got to find healthy ways to make it through that. The fact that you got sober and you have a strong social support, network of people that you could come to is important. And that's where, we talk about rebuilding lives and families, and because we stop drinking, we stop becoming selfish assholes, and we start to pay attention to the other things like that.
Yeah. And I know Lacy, I'm waiting right now because I know she has something on that.
Yeah, I so agree. I was waiting to say something about that. I tell my male clients all the time, I don't know why y'all think you cannot show your emotions, but I know it goes back to, hey, you got to be strong because that's how they were raised.
Right. Boys don't cry. I'll give you something to cry about, all that kind of stuff.
Yes. And everybody just stuffs it down. Mm-hmm. And then here we are years later.
Deadly. Yeah. it's deadly.
Yeah. And I tell them that all the time.
Especially for people like us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know the answer to my own, but I'm going to ask Ben this while we're on that subject. How did you go from suppressing things, not having, to learning, hey, these emotions are okay. This is not a bad thing. It's okay to feel this way. How did all that process for you work? Were you able to figure that out?
I'm still working on it.
Well, yeah, I'm.
Good answer. Good
Amen.
answer. I like it.
It started slowly just by just being around my family more. That's another thing. I got to get back in the rooms because I've been out of the rooms for a while here recently, and I've been using work and being tired as an excuse. And it's not one. Being around my family more and just being around other people in the program helped me talk about stuff. But one of the things I'm still struggling with, and Matt and Lacy kind of know this, is I kind of want to get back into the dating scene. Not that I'm putting out like a request for
Ladies, he's out there. He's out there, ladies.
Yeah.
1-800 Ben with a beard.
Mayday. What?
not that I'm asking for applications. It's just because I stunted my emotional growth so early, and I refuse to believe that a man could feel anything. I don't know how to convey my feelings to someone as well as most people that are my age do. I don't know. I don't know how to talk to women because I never really had to talk to women. I just
They, in my experience, they usually do most of the talking.
Hey,
but
that's-
sorry.
Oh,
Lacey just threw a hammer across the thing at me. Sorry.
and that's fine. I can listen. I've been told I'm a good listener. But
Hey, and to be fair, man, I don't think it's a recovery thing of dealing with emotions like, oh, I was stunning my growth. I think most men, especially, it's a hard battle, no matter whether you're in recovery or not. I think it's just in general, learning to handle emotions and express things the right way without looking like a maniac or something is a battle, man. It's a battle,
It is.
And feeling like someone's going to judge you no matter what. I can't let this out. Don't have anyone to talk to.
Yeah, and then another thing, I send memes to everybody. I don't conversate with anybody really,
We
except
know.
for people at work. Matt knows very well.
We do role play though.
But yeah, I mean, I refuse to care to need a cell phone for any period of time in my life. So I don't know how to carry on a text conversation, and I got ADD, ADHD, whatever it is. It's undiagnosed. If you're not like actively engaging me, I will see a squirrel and I will take off running after that squirrel. I'll be at the house and I'll get distracted by dishes, laundry, or the TV just looked like it needed to see me for about 5 hours.
Well, guess what, Ben? There are millions of people with ADHD that are in relationships and are killing it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there are. It's just not me.
One thing that I've learned in recovery and is that it'll happen when it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And for majority of my sobriety, I've been trying to force and make it happen because I do want to share my life with someone. And it hasn't. And I just have to keep the faith God's going to put someone in my life when it's time. As far as communication, I talk to people. There's no one I talk any differently to on this earth. Everybody gets the same me. So be yourself, dude.
It's probably your musical taste.
Police.
Because apparently there's something wrong with Creed and you hate
play
Reed.
some Creed for them.
Yeah. So, the thing is, though, we talk about this kind of stuff and Lacy and I and our thing and how we met and how we hit that off. And I had this thing of, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I want to see this, this, and this. I want all these things. When God decides to do it, you can't screw it up. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to screw it up. He's already done it. So you're going to be Ben or Jill or whoever it might be, or Matt, and it's already set. We're set, and you go, oh, this is what I was. It's kind of that. I think we overthink it, and go, well, you're talking about all those people in relationships, and there's a bunch of people that aren't. But I think it's more the timing of things and when God decides that timing is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also think you're we all are harder on yourself than,
Yeah.
we don't self can't see self, but we see your worth.
Yeah. You're I think we all do that too. We all look at the negative and then everybody else looks at all the other stuff and it's we just don't see Y'all don't see
Well,
what we see, you
it's
know?
so easy to get sucked into.
Sure.
I mean, and like that is one of my biggest trouble areas is getting sucked back into the negativity and just like stupid shit. And I'm like, whoa, and I have to slap myself. Like, my life is damn awesome. And I have to remember that.
Yeah. It is. And I just think I think that we will, like Ben said, working on things. We'll always work on things. And I think it will. But I firmly believe that no matter what it is, a relationship or a job or whatever that's supposed to be, we can do the best we can to prepare in the best way that we can. But when it becomes time for God to go, this is what's happening, it's just going to happen. There's not no way to screw it up, So
That's 100% true. And I remember, Jill, you said something about like trying to force things. That was me. Like, I wanted that love so bad. And I was like the only one making that effort.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
with Matt, but before.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I was just
absolutely.
like, God, this is obviously not from you.
It's a huge lesson in letting go of the need to control. And it's been shown to me over and over and over and over again in that aspect that we're talking about throughout my whole entire life. And so it is what it is. I find my happiness. I find my joy. So Ben,
So here's another thing I was going to tie into your story, and I kind of interrupted you, and I didn't mean
That's
to.
okay.
What I think people, and the reason we have these bonus episodes and we do these updates because we want people to be able to follow recovery and the way it actually happens in the real world. This isn't Hollywood. It's not. I mean, we all have family issues, job issues, financial. Everybody here has that stuff. And everybody has different things in the way that they recover, and they're facing different things. You and I have it's funny how that's worked out, and been buddies and met at work, met at a place we both worked. And, we've sort of intertwined in a lot of things. But, you go that first year, and we sat with you. That was episode 7 you were on. This is about the 90th one. So been a minute since you were here.
It's been a little while.
I did look it up. But you were one of the first guys that came in and sat down with us and told your story on this podcast. You were one of the very first ones. And you had a year of sobriety. We were doing it that week of your birthday, or right after it, I think. You're 2.5 years in now, so you've put a year and a half more in. That first year, everybody knows it's tough. It's just tough. You hang in there, you do the best you can. That's all anybody can expect. As you move forward in life, that's what I've started looking at and realizing for myself. Things change and get better, but new things arise, and you go, oh, I need to work on this, or this was not on the radar 2 years ago, and now I'm, what has been the thing for you that's kept you where you're at, like as slowly as things have gotten better? What's just been the kind of thing that you get up in the morning and go, man, I'm heading in the right direction, like life is good?
I just knowing that God has a plan for me, and that I like to phrase this too, shall pass. So anytime I've got anything that's
bugging
me, it'll pass, I know. And then anytime I know anything's going too well, I was like, hey, dumbass.
Yeah.
This is going to be over soon.
Yeah.
So you might as well make the most of it. So
yeah, all those little sayings. I mean, they mean so much to me. We used to laugh at them. I remember when my sponsor first told me this too shall pass. I was like, what? And I didn't like it because it almost sounded biblical, and I still was quite the defiant, anarchist, and I didn't know if I wanted to say or think stuff like that. But I say it all the time now, and it's all those things that you just said. They're awesome.
I think our outlook on it, though, with the addiction past is, oh, I had a heartbeat of a feeling that's bad. Let me change that. And we never stop and go, what happens if I just get through this? Because we're not capable of doing that at that time. And when we learn how to do it, we learn good and bad. It's going to change. It changes every dadgum day. It might do it multiple times a day. And that for me, I just don't get too down or too up either way. And it just keeps me in this area that I want to be for the most part. How has it been with your sponsor? You still talk to your sponsor?
I don't talk with him like every day. I mean, I think The last time I've actually had a really long conversation with them was when we were over here at your house. And they were telling me I need to get back in the rooms and need to try and sponsor somebody. I don't know. Maybe I need to more.
I think sobriety has like his ebbs and flows of, and I did it a lot through recovery. I have not been perfect throughout my recovery. There have been times I've been highly connected to my sponsors. There have been times I didn't go to meetings. There are times that I go to a meeting every day. It's just kind of like learning that balance and, figuring that out. Because it took me many, many, many years to find out, like, oh, if I go to these, if I go to these meetings or if I stay more engaged, then I have more happiness and stuff like that. I do a lot of things outside of the rooms, and I'm really grateful for those things too. I still hang around alcoholics in my
Personal life.
I just went to a Friendsgiving. These were my sponsor and all of her sponsees, and it was awesome. We do stuff like that quite a bit. And I'm meeting up in December to meet with another group of women to do the same thing. We do it for Christmas. And I think that's also, I know it's not considered a meeting and stuff, but that also helps me stay plugged in. And, sponsees and all the deal. And it's just, like I said, it's finding that balance. And there's definitely been times where I've been out of balance and I was just like, nah, I don't want to go. And I get real lazy and then I pick them back up again and I get really involved. And I've it's never been to a point where I thought about drinking or I thought about using. But I know that when I get in some emotional pain, I'm like, okay, time to amp it up. Let's go to some meetings. And yeah, I could probably be compliant and go to a meeting, 4 days a week or whatever. But I think that's just part of the human.
Just being a human.
Yeah, absolutely. We get busy.
Natural,
we get tired. It's getting darker earlier, and I get home at 5 and it's dark and I have to feed the pigs. I have to feed the chickens and I cook dinner. And then it's like time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I stopped going to meetings quite as often, is because I was working 7 to 5:30, and then I'd get off, rush over to a 5:30, catch the end of the 5:30, and I'd committed to doing 8 o'clock meetings. So I would grab something to eat somewhere local, and then I'd just go back and do the meeting, and then I'd get home at 9:30.
Yeah. And I don't want anybody listening to think like, oh God, we're making up all these excuses, because my life is full and there is a lot of things that I do. Mm-hmm. It's just like I said, it's finding that balance and knowing when you,
And as far as like a sponsor too, so I'm 6 years long. I've had the same guy since I had 90 days of sobriety, 98 days of sobriety. It's a friendship, and we're friends, and we fish and we do other things. And I went to, hey man, Lacy and I got to go hear his son preach at a church last Sunday.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was excellent, man.
Cool.
He did a great job. Jesse did a great job.
It was really good.
And it was really, really good. And that's what Jill said. I think when we make this our lifestyle, you're around recovery people all the time. And it's not always a meeting. The place that my sponsor and I fish is a private area that he likes to fish. And there's other AA people that fish out there. So we see them in a boat. I don't even see them at a meeting. I see them in a boat and we're pulled up talking. And so my life is constantly around that kind of stuff. And Bobby and I don't really talk about life or death issues, I guess you could say, sobriety stuff anymore. We talk about fishing 90% of the time.
You ever talk about going camping?
No, we don't talk. That's an outside joke. Doesn't need to be told on this program. But no camping with our friend Big Richard, if he's listening. We'll give him a shout out. But we do so many things that are it's just my lifestyle now. So, and in the business I'm in, I'm during the summer, I don't go as much. I'm just now getting back where I go, and I go a lot during the winter, early spring. It is what it is. And I've been doing it now, and it's almost kind of a routine, but I can tell toward the end of the year, I start getting squirrely, and I'm like, I'm aggravated easy. I'm not going to meetings. And it's time, but also my ox is in the ditch that time of year, and I have to work I have to do. It's a seasonal job, so I have to do it when I can. But that's the beautiful thing about this program. It's always there. And if I just want to go somewhere, I pull that phone up and I can look anywhere around me and there's a meeting somewhere. I can go find one within an hour or two of the time I'm looking for it. And I know what to do and what to do to take my medicine. And I do have that sponsor, and I still talk to him when the need arises on something that I'm having a hard time with. I'm more than glad to talk to him, and that door's always open, so, but that's kind of, now you got a new sponsor, Lacy, recently. So
it's been a few months, but
yeah.
I have a problem with, and I love my sponsor. I don't know. It's like I feel like I'm bothering people.
That's not the case.
Yes, I don't know why. And I'm like, okay, she's so busy. She's awesome. She's busy. She don't need my bullshit too. But that's not the case. I know. So I suck. And I also, I've been sucking at meetings.
I'm not going to let you talk to yourself like that.
Right. I know, right? I know.
Yeah, and when you realize that you're actually you're helping their sobriety.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then, the whole meeting situation, I'm the same way. I'm shaking my head at you. Yeah, I could feel I've been really aggravated lately. I think I told you that the other night, Ben. Something's wrong. I need Jesus in some meetings.
And I told you that you need Jesus.
Yeah, in some meetings. But yeah, and when I go in the rooms, I feel like I'm at home and that's my family,
Yeah.
Because they are.
Yeah. It's nice to just walk in and no matter who's in there, you're at home and there's somebody in there that you can click with and talk to and that type thing,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Ben, what, so you're 2.5 years now. What are you, I'm trying to give this for people that are in your shoes that are listening or kind of right behind you on that journey of time. And so you're kind of, the dating thing is hard. I don't care who you are. That's just a meat grinder of a deal right there. It just is. But, it is what it is. But you've managed the thing that I'm observing about you that I have from day one is that you've done the things that everyone says to do. You went to your meetings, you got a sponsor, you worked your steps, you do sponsor other guys if they ask, you do all those things. And this has been a steady climb for you. And that's where I think we get this, or I had this thing in my head of okay, I quit doing drugs. I ought to be rich by now. It's 2 months down the road. I should be driving a Maserati. Wrong, And I had to get those expectations. And when I did and went, you know what? If I can survive today without drink or drug, I'm happy with it. Whatever happens. If I'm homeless, I'm happy with that because I got a win right there. And when I started doing that and letting God take care of all that outside stuff, then things slowly started to turn. And they're still turning, they're still grinding, and it's just slowly. And man, I like it that way. I don't know if I can handle it fast. It's fast enough on me as it is. But has that kind of been your experience with it? Has it been you've done a lot in a few years,
Yeah. Shit. What was the question?
Well, how's it been as far as,
okay. Yeah. Okay. I've tried to not go too fast in anything. Cause I don't know, if I bail in and start fucking stuff up, it'll all be ruined by the end of the day. But I had to keep low expectations doing anything. I couldn't, anytime I started anything new, like a new way of doing the dishes or the laundry or started a new job or whatever, I just had to say, okay, let's see where this goes. Let's not overcomplicate this. Let's do what's asked of us. Just carry on.
Yeah.
And
I think that was probably one of my biggest lessons in, around 2.5 years or early recovery, moving into, the years and all of that was patience. 2.5 years, I still was working at a job making $9 an hour, and I still had no hope of doing any better than that. I was still emotionally not okay. I still was struggling with a lot of things. I still wasn't, 100% on board with AA. And I wanted just stuff and I wasn't getting it, and it was pissing me off. And I was at that point like working through anger. I was working through letting go of expectations of what I thought my life should be. Again, and that's that cognitive distortion, that false and irrational belief system that took me so many years to get rid of. I had, at that point, I'm learning, that was a year of like a lot of spiritual growth, and learning about God and learning about trusting God's will and getting out of mine, because I still was incredibly selfish. I was on that slow train. I mean, like super slow. And, I thought that getting sober, I would automatically get all the things I'd ever wanted. And it didn't happen. And I mean, like, I just got my first house 3 years ago. And I had to learn how to accept things the way they are. And I mean, like, it sounds like you're like knee deep in it as far as like accepting, and you're like cool and doing really well. And I like seeing that. I mean, because like it says, it's sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, and we all develop and grow and learn at different rates and all. I felt like I was still hopeless at that point, even though I was sober and I was doing somewhat well, and I'd moved out of the halfway house, and it was those little things. I just wasn't where I wanted to be. And so, again, letting go of the expectations, and, my counselor, or my sponsor, who was also a counselor, was like, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And it just took so long for me to realize what I could control and what I couldn't control. Mm-hmm. And that was, I think, one of the hardest lessons of my life. What's God's will? What's Jill's will? How do I be okay with what I have when what I have seemed to me like nothing? And I think that's what I struggled with the most. It was just, I didn't understand how like all these other people were getting all these things they talk about, cars and husbands and wives and stuff. And I still was like,
Yeah. I mean, I'm not where I want to be right now. I mean, I've got more things I have more things today than I did 2.5 years ago.
There you go.
But
and that's the attitude I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't have that kind of attitude.
yeah. I mean, where I want to be is like, I want to have a boat down on the beach with a little hut that I could go sit on and just watch the sunset.
You want to sit on your hut?
Yeah, I want to
just
sit
kidding.
on my hut. But sit on the porch out, watch sun go down, and be able to go swimming in the beach every day and not have to work and all that stuff. But I know that's not going to happen just by not doing anything.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and right now, like, it's not like I'm living in the Taj Mahal. My damn trailer's falling apart from the inside
But man,
out. I feel like I'm getting black lung every time I walk into it. But you know what? It's the cheapest thing I could find right now, and it affords
and
me
you
to
save
save
your money.
and-
There's a point to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so it's all mature in the way you look at it. I guess it took me a while to find that maturity of just looking at things a little different. Maybe it's an age thing. I don't know, because I was a lot older than you when I got sober, and I felt like I had to really, like, you get sober, I'm 35, and I have got to make up for lost time, and it's not happening quick enough for me. Don't you understand? I'm 35.
I had a lot of those thoughts right before I got sober.
Right.
Like,
Don't you see that I'm 40, and
yeah, I was, yeah, that was one of the things I was trying to figure out right before I got sober. And it's like, dude, I'm fucking almost 30 years old. I've wasted 10 years of my adult life just doing dumb stuff. If I would have listened to my dad and got a CDL after high school, I could have been sitting rich right now because
in your hut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or halfway to it at least. But
With black loan.
But when I start thinking like that, it's like I'm not getting anywhere trying to figure out what I could have done.
It's
in the
self-sabotage.
past. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all it left me with was negative emotions,
Sure.
Exactly.
frustration, sadness, the self-pity, which I feel and know is what got me in the rooms to begin with.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
It's just dragging you back. It's almost mental relapse type stuff. You know?
For sure.
Like you're just mentally, man, I that's probably the biggest thing that I've worked on is not being negative, and I don't like negative. I don't like constant negativity. I just don't. And like, if I got to get it out, I'll get around somebody that knows me. If I just need to bitch about something, and I get it over with and I'm rolling. I don't want nobody to see me like that. But I've done very good at eliminating a lot of it, and from the past. And that's been part of the reason I've been able to not drink and use for a minute.
I'm glad you just said the past, because I was thinking a minute ago, like, what about, how have y'all dealt with this? Or did y'all? I hate the past stuff coming up. Like, stuff I really don't want to deal with.
I love the way Matt explained it to me when I was going through my steps and everything. I get all amends can't be made at once, but once we make our amends for it, we've cleaned up our side of the street. We don't have to apologize for anything any further. We don't have to do anything. Like, we've covered this topic. That has to pass. But now, like, I know a little bit of what you're talking about,
right.
And I don't want to air your laundry out here,
No,
but
you're good.
but you've got a little bit more complicated stuff going on, and it's going to take a little bit longer to work through a lot of that stuff. But you can't just keep feeding into it. So,
And it just boils down to fear.
Or like Mike Walston would say, I would ask him something, and I'd go, why is this? And he'd go, oh, are you God? I go, no. And he'd go, well, then you're a human being? Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, then
That's the whole conversation.
I just get mad at myself for allowing someone to have so much control over me at one time. And then I'm left in all this crap.
And that's what the steps are for. That's what, everything that you're doing is for. It just takes time. And there's still, I remember something popped up that I didn't recall from the past, the whole entire weekend, that someone brought up to me. And it was completely demoralizing. And I just cried because I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And, that kind of stuff trying to just bite you in the ass every now and then. But that's what the steps are for. That's what meetings are for. Counselors, everything that we learn in the rooms is for, because like that stuff can still pop up. And it was so awesome is that like I came into the rooms thinking that, hey, I'm just going to quit drinking and doing drugs, I suppose. There's a big,
Maybe.
You're right.
We'll think about it.
I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm here, and what the hell? Everything I learned in the rooms, my God, is crazy. It's absolutely crazy to me to think that it is almost everything, but they don't teach us how to not drink. They don't say, go lock up your alcohol, and they don't do that. And I got to learn all the really cool things, like how to manage myself, my emotions, my fears, all of that. And, how to find a higher power, how to trust in that higher power, how to let go and control all the things that, gosh, like lead us to be successful in life.
And I think when we come in here too, we have a big ball of mess, and everything in our life is a dumpster fire. At least mine was. Every aspect.
for sure.
My drinking and using touched everything I did. Relationships, financial, job, all these things. And we start working on them, and we do the steps, and we start working our way through that, and we get a lot of it cleaned up.
Yeah.
A lot of it. Man, you can knock a bunch of that out doing those 12 steps the first time, but you ain't going to get it all.
No.
You may not even get 50% of it.
Oh, for sure.
But I promise, here was the difference for me, was I felt better about what I had done. And when things came up and they kept reminding me, oh, you shithead, you did this, you did that. And I go, yeah, but I know how to fix that because I've already done it. So it's not panic. It's not beat myself to death. I go, I need to go back through this. I need to call my sponsor. That's what that usually boiled down to. And me and him came up with a plan.
And the more you do that, the more power you feel over yourself and your emotions, the more free you become, the more powerful you feel. I'm a confident woman now. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy to me. I was so just broken. And of course I wasn't going to let anybody know.
Right.
Because I had that tough girl persona, and that wasn't going to happen. But I'm confident for the right reasons, because all those like road bumps that you're talking about, Lacy, that I learned how to work through them. And every time that I did that, I felt that much better about myself. I had that much more esteem. I had that much more confidence and courage and power and all those things that have lifted me up to where I know that I feel that I can like handle anything. Mm-hmm. All the things that used to baffle us.
And if they do baffle me, they don't baffle Jill and Mike and my sponsor and Ben and Lacy and all the people I know in the program, because I go, well, why is this bothering the crap out of me? And I may call 3 of y'all, and I haven't had one of those in a while, but I did early on. It was a lot of stuff like that.
They tend to dissipate.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. You're like, wow, I can do things.
And I think the last time I talked to Bobby, this was the way I phrased it. I said, tell me, am I thinking right? And then I tell him what I'm fixing to do. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, okay, I just want to make sure that I'm steered in the right direction. But I've had it, I don't want to say beat into my head, but I've had it beat into my head because I sat my ass in those rooms so many times. I sat on those chairs and listened to everybody talk about this same stuff. And it almost becomes muscle memory. You know, it's almost like default. That serenity prayer, you're going to hear me say it 1,000,000 times, but there's 3 things in that serenity prayer. There's 3 categories you can put a problem or an issue or anything going on in your life. One of those 3. And when you learn to look at it in that's as simple as I can make it. If it ain't something Matt can control, it flies right out of my mind. I don't care anymore. It's not my problem.
But let me tell you something. When you're in the middle of that,
it can be tough.
I mean, there's been times in sobriety that I felt hopeless. And when you're in that and the anxiety's there, the fear is there and it's consuming you and all of that, you know, I can go back to that. Oh my gosh, am I going to start having panic attacks again? Am I going to have to go to Brentwood? Am I going to have to, you know, am I going to be able to handle this? I get over that, or I get through that. I should say. And then again, that I'm like, oh, I did that. And then again, I feel that much more powerful and more confident. And the more you do that, the more that old shit goes away.
Yep.
Well, I think a lot of what makes me so like mad is because this is stuff like I've worked the steps 2 times. You know, I'm going on 6 years, and 4 years in, then I'm left in a mess with, you know what I mean, with someone who...
I do. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. It will always materialize if you work for it.
And we're not promised that somebody's not going to take advantage of us. We're not promised that we're not going to get ripped off. We're not promised all these things. It doesn't say you're going to go around in this little cocoon for the rest of your life and God put an invisible force field around you. Because what I found is just like what you're going through and just like what you're dealing with, what do you deal with at work every day? People that are going through the same thing. And God says, Lacy, there's a reason why you're going through this, because these folks come in and need help. And there's somebody that's been through the exact same thing. And that may sound like it sucks and it sounds harsh, but he's giving it to you because you've been able to handle it and you still do the right thing and you do the things you're supposed to do. And we never know who's watching us, you know, in how we handle things or how we do things that may need to go, wow, how did they do that? You know,
right. And so, you know, I've learned through, you know, all my trauma, all the horrible things I've gone through in my life is my superpower. And that's what I use as part of my, my story to build rapport with clients, to give people hope, because there were so many decades I didn't think I would ever make it out of it. Mm-hmm. And I am now, and I'm free of it. And that's a miracle to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I did have someone tell me that earlier, like, don't beat yourself up. You know, like, I know I play a part in everything, but she was like, don't beat yourself up. You are a survivor.
Absolutely.
And we get confused a lot of time, not confused, but the lines get blurred from talking about your situation, Lacy, to even Ben talking about his hut versus his black lung trailer. You know, we do right and we do all these things and we go, this is what I want to build towards. And you're doing that. And we're doing things to fix the past and build toward things. But that don't necessarily mean that's God's will for us. It may be our will, and sometimes ours and God's collides. But I think that's why we live where our feet are. What do you tell me?
Be where your feet are.
Be where your feet are. Be where your feet are, because God's put you there that day. What's going on then? God's will may not be for and I'm not saying nothing bad, but maybe it ain't for Ben to be in Florida. It may be to do whatever, it may be something totally different. And as I've gone along, I never thought look, if y'all thought that there's people that know me in all over the place, that if they knew that I was on a podcast about drugs and alcohol and how not to do them.
I'm laughing because same.
Yeah.
Same.
I mean, dude, I'm telling y'all, like, I had most of this stuff in my life now, this lady sitting over here to the side of me, never saw it coming. Total different. Life has been a total different in the way God has wanted things to go. I've learned for the most part to accept it. Some things I like? No. Sometimes I go, why am I dealing with this? And then 6 months down the road, somebody else is dealing with it. And they go, man, and I go, oh, yeah, I got you. And we talk about it, and they maybe get a little something out of it, and we go on. And it makes me feel better, because I go, oh, that's why I dealt with that, because this dude was going to have this issue. When the closer I stay to that, and I get strayed from it like everybody, but when I start to realize, hey, I got to trust what my higher power is doing. Not that I don't question it, but if I question it, I talk to him and question it. And I'm going to say, what's going on right now? Show me something that why we're here, where we're here. He's pretty good about that. I think sometimes we get strayed away as things go good, and we go, well, why am I going through this? And I know backgrounds on all of us, and not putting anybody's business, but most of the time it's because God wants us to help somebody else. And so if you ain't been through it, Ben's a mechanic. If my car's messing up, I'm calling a mechanic. I'm calling Ben. He knows what he's doing. I'm not calling Jill. She ain't a mechanic. I'm not going to call Jill.
That you know of.
That I know of. Jill is a badass, but that's beside the point. Actually, Jill probably could fix my car, but you get what I'm saying. And, I don't know. I don't know if that's deal with that or what you think about that. But and let me give you for instance. Let me give you a real life for instance. Where you work now as at that big mechanic shop. When you and I were together and the situation happened there, and we both got chunked out of there, you were looking for a job, and I had one to get you through.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, come over here and let's do this. Right. And you got enough to where you could figure out what you wanted to do. And that was all good. What have I done a couple of times since he's been where you've been, and you got insurance, and you're learning and you're doing all these things, is I call and go, hey man, I got this guy. He just got out of treatment, and he needs a job. And man goes, well, we got a wash job. You can wash equipment. Yeah. So the same things that we went through, you're getting to do those too. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if it hits you,
Yeah, I got you on that.
That's kind of God's will sometimes. It's like, yeah, it's great if it coincides, and it's great that your job and all that, but you're there for a reason, and
for
the reason
sure.
ain't always.
And what's so cool about that is when I look back on my work history, that $9 job, which was $8, I still to this day use the things that I learned there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been every job I've had through these almost 15 years of my recovery. Even though it's like now I wish I could go back and be grateful for that job, because I wasn't. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then that led to my master's program. Master's program led to me to doing, psychometrics, and then led to my just all of it. All I could think about at this moment is this is bullshit. I have a college degree and I should be making more. But the skill set I learned there is priceless.
I agree 100%.
I know. And that's how, it's so neat, because I remember my sponsor telling me things that this is all happening for a reason. This is all going to lead to something. And I was like, sure.
And being where your feet are. So I've been in the lawn care business for about 15 years. I was about 2 years sober, and I was working for a company, and we did big apartment complexes. And there was a maintenance guy. One of them used to walk around with a bucket, and he'd pick up trash. And he was one of them guys that just talk your head off like me. If you ever get him pinned down, he's going to talk your head off. And it's the middle of the summer. I'm tired. I'm aggravated. We're shorthanded as always. And I'm hauling butt on the mower trying to mow. Hit a pile of dog crap, the whole deal. And so I'm over there feeling sorry for myself, and I'm mad in my head and all that. And I see the maintenance guy. I see him every week and never talk to him much. And he waves, throws his hand up, and I kind of throw my hand up like I'm going to keep going here. I'm not stopping to talk. But he made eye contact with me like I'm coming over there to talk, and I was like, shoot. So I cut the mower off, and I'm just so full of aggravation and all these things, and mad about my job, mad I'm mowing grass and it's hot and I could be doing something else. And the guy walks up to me and he goes, how's it going, man? There was that moment of just stop. And it was like something said, stop what you're doing. Stop what's fixing to come out your mouth. None of that. And I looked at him for a minute and I said, man, I tell you what, I said, I was 2 years sober about a month ago, 2 years clean and sober. And I said, I think I'm right where I'm supposed to be and I'm learning what I'm supposed to learn. And I said, I get a little tired of dog crap and stuff sometimes, running it over with my mower and dealing with these guys sometimes is a little headache. I said, but you know what? I could have it a lot worse. And that's basically what I said. The guy's never said a word the whole time. I've never talked to him that much. He looks right at me and he says, man, I'm addicted to codeine cough syrup and I don't know how to stop. And I said, okay, well, I can.
Subject change.
Yeah. I was like, okay, well, we can talk about that. And so he got his real estate license the other day. He's not a maintenance man. That was about 4 years ago.
Oh,
he's
that's
not a
awesome.
maintenance man now. And he actually sent me a text and was like, just a picture of the license. And God puts us where we're supposed to be, you know. And if we buy into that, sorry, look at me, poor me, we gotta be out there, you know, doing the best we can. And I'm glad that time I didn't say what I felt like saying.
You're right. And, you know, like, I love what I do. I love helping people. I love counseling others. And it's like I walk in the doors and I forget about me, you know? I just want to help everyone else.
And that's what, when you call your sponsor, you know, that's the same principle there. That's why you should call your sponsor.
I do call myself.
Okay. All right.
I tell you what, I mean, life's beautiful and it's good to watch yours unfold, Ben, and, you know, all of ours, and, you know, look back where we came from and count the blessings and let things happen just the way they're supposed to.
Y'all don't know anybody luckier than me. You anybody listening right now?
Are you sure it's luck? I say it's blessed.
Blessing. Yeah. And I say lucky because I'm telling y'all, you just don't know nobody. And I'm so grateful every day for this second chance at things. And I found out today we got to see the grandbaby. He came over and found out we have another grandbaby in the oven.
Yes.
So we got another one on the way. So, man, life's good, man. You know, like it's just, I couldn't have asked. I never expected any of this to be happening, you know? Yeah. So
That's for sure.
Well, does anybody have anything they want to throw in or add? Y'all don't all jump at once. I mean, y'all just, all right. Well, Ben, thank you for coming by, man.
I'm glad y'all
You're a
had me.
good guy. We're glad to have you. And let's try not to do 90 episodes in between visits, you know, but hey, he's a world traveler now. So it's
That's
hard to get him pinned down. I had to call his agent. So, but anyway, we're gonna send it over to Mike and let him finish this episode off. Thank you, Ben, and thank you guys for listening.
Wow, what a great episode from Ben, Lacy, Jill, the whole gang. And from all of us at Rule 62 Studios, we are the Grouch and the Brainstorm.